If our local government can't help us and our federal government, I don't know what else we're going to do.
People with diabetes are scrambling to different pharmacies to find insulin. How difficult it's been for some.
A controversial speaker comes to the University of Utah campus. Why dozens of students rallied against the event.
New tonight, 2 cars allegedly stolen by a group of juveniles. Video of how it came to an end and how young police say the driver was.
It ended up being a great day for the eclipse for most of us here in Utah. A few showers to the south, but we are drying out. How long the nice weather will last, coming up.
And we weren't in the path of totality, but that did not stop Utahns from getting out and looking up.
It feels like I've finally seen a piece of history.
Enjoying today's solar eclipse and why some Utahns decided to stay inside.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
More than 8 million Americans rely on insulin every day to survive. And for some, getting the proper type of insulin has been a struggle because of a shortage from the nation's largest insulin supplier. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Chapman.
And I'm Bob Evans. 2 weeks ago, insulin maker Eli Lilly warned of a temporary shortage at the beginning of April. But Utahns with diabetes tell Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser tonight they cannot see a light at the end of the tunnel.
What do you do when 12 different places don't have the drug to keep you alive?
When I've tried to order it, it's always, oh, we don't have it in stock, or it's on back order.
Friends Sean Liston and Shane Aline have spent the last few weeks playing a guessing game over which pharmacies are carrying insulin.
This is the first time I've ever ran into an issue of obtaining insulin.
Drug maker Eli Lilly announced 10 milliliter vials of Humalog and Insulin Lispro injection would be temporarily out of stock through the beginning of April, and that once manufactured, they'd be shipped, quote, as soon as they can.
If they don't have it, they will have high blood sugar levels leading to several complications. Especially it will start affecting their kidneys, their eyes, and other organs.
Just because a pharmacy has insulin, it might not be the type that diabetics were prescribed or what their insurance covers, and that's a roadblock a lot of people are running into.
Insulin is insulin, but you have to have the right name brand in order to get it covered. And insurance isn't going to do it.
At Olive Pharmacy in West Valley City, Dr. Kaleem Mohammed says they're lucky their supply hasn't been affected.
The good alternative for those patients who cannot find vials is to switch to the pens which are available.
Liston has reached out to the Attorney General's office and the companies themselves.
We should have a better plan in play, and if our local government can't help us and our federal government, I don't know what else we're going to do.
In Salt Lake, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
New at 9, a speaker's appearance tonight at the University of Utah brought dozens of students out in support and opposition to his words.
Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us what happened at a rally tonight on campus.
Political writer Michael Knowles spoke at the University of Utah's College of Social Work to the excitement of many students, but to the outrage of others. Knowles has publicly called for the eradication of transgenderism. His appearance Monday night was titled, "No Child is in the Wrong Body." While a long line of students snaked around the building, anxiously waiting to get inside, another crowd of students formed, rallying against what Knowles would be speaking about.
I was interested in the dialect and seeing what the extremes kind of were. So I wanted to come see what he had to say.
Anti-trans and anti-queer rhetoric is not welcome on our campus. It is not a home. Our campus is not a home for this kind of rhetoric.
The U's Young Americans for Freedom chapter invited Knowles to speak. The event tonight was not put on by the university. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
West Valley City Police say a group of juveniles stole 2 cars and crashed one of them early this morning. And tonight, we've received video of the alleged act. Take a look at this. Oh, you heard that big bang there. You're seeing doorbell video sent to us from a viewer claiming the children drove a stolen Kia and used it to run over trash cans. Here's what we know so far. Police were called to 3800 South 70th West at about 5:30 a.m. They found a 12-year-old inside with minor injuries. Investigators learned the car had been stolen in Magna. They say the driver had lost control and hit a tree, then got into another stolen car, also driven by a juvenile. Police are still looking for those two drivers, as well as any other teen or preteen who may have been involved.
A Pleasant Grove man is in custody tonight after allegedly kidnapping his ex-girlfriend at knife point last night, taking her to his house, then luring another man there with plans to shoot him in front of his ex. Court documents allege 20-year-old Benny Roy Brownfield took his ex-girlfriend captive after she had intimate relations with another man in Lehigh. Brownfield lured that man to his home and fought with him. The man's mother, who tagged along, broke up the fight and helped the ex-girlfriend escape. Brownfield grabbed a rifle, allegedly pointed it at multiple people, then fired at a vehicle containing his ex and the other man's mother. The ex told police what happened, and officers arrested Brownfield at his home. He's being held without bail.
In Provo, police are looking for two people who drove away from police officers yesterday. According to Provo PD, officers tried to stop a vehicle for license and moving violations. The driver headed eastbound and ended up crashing into two vehicles and some nearby street signs near 130 East, 500 North. Witnesses reported the driver and a passenger took off on foot. Now, police do know who the two suspects are, so they're not asking for the public's help to find them. They could be charged with a number of traffic-related violations when they are eventually taken into custody.
The Utah Highway Patrol has identified the man killed on I-15 in American Fork last Thursday morning while changing a tire. Troopers say 43-year-old Jay Marcano Guerrera of Pleasant Grove was wearing a reflective vest and had his hazard lights on when he was hit. The incident is still under investigation, but troopers say the driver who struck Guerrera will probably not be charged.
If you hear large booms coming from the West Desert soon, don't be alarmed.
The Air Force will begin its season of large detonation operations this month at the Utah Test and Training Range. They are safely destroying old or obsolete Department of Defense rocket motors. Depending on weather conditions, 1 or 2 detonations are planned per week through September.
They're safe booms,
Yeah,
what you'll be
we're
hearing.
not under attack.
No. Switching gears to weather, check this out. What a sight. View from our Skyfox drone. These are the cherry blossoms there on Utah's Capitol Hill. Pretty obvious scene with the big Capitol in the back, but this time of year, these trees are popping. They're gorgeous and they smell really good as well.
Yeah, and they survived the kind of rough weather we've had the last couple of days, Allison.
Yes, they survived some snow, the cold temperatures, and a lot of wind. And also today, we had the total solar eclipse for some portions of the country. For us here in Utah, we had a partial eclipse. But I wanted just to let you know when else we can expect these across the country. Now, up in Alaska, there will be a total solar eclipse in March 2033. Then in August 2044, Montana and North Dakota will get a total solar eclipse. And then for us here in Utah, in 21 years, August 2045, Utah and a lot of the United States will see a total solar eclipse. So the next one, though, will be out of the country. It'll be August 2026, Greenland, Iceland, Spain. And for us here in Utah, that'll be August 12th, 2045. Go ahead and mark your calendars. That'll be the path of totality, Salt Lake to Richfield. Temperatures right now in the 40s for much of the state. We'll see a chilly night and a cold morning tomorrow under mostly clear sky. And then our temperatures will be really nice tomorrow. How high those temps will climb in the 7-day forecast coming up.
While millions of people celebrated today's solar eclipse outdoors, why some people stayed inside.
At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people.
Former President Trump announces his latest position on abortion, how it may impact his presidential bid.
Folks, I will never stop to deliver student debt relief and hardworking Americans.
Plus, President Biden unveils a new plan to forgive student loan debt for millions of Americans. We'll break it down for you.
BYU baseball player Colin Reuter had a big day in Texas. We'll hear from the Cougar catcher after destroying the Longhorns.
In Boise, the jury now set for the murder trial of Chad Daybell.
The first week of jury selection produced 57 potential jurors. This morning, attorneys for both sides pared that down to the final 12 jurors and 6 alternates. Opening statements are set for Wednesday. The trial is expected to last 8 to 10 weeks. Daybell is charged with the deaths of his first wife, Tammy, and his second wife, Lori's 2 children, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. If convicted, he could get the death penalty.
Just into the Fox 13 newsroom, an HOA treasurer has been sentenced to 1 year of home detention. 66-year-old Sharon Gordon embezzled nearly $250,000 from the Lava Bluff HOA in Hurricane. Prosecutors say she spent most of it gambling at casinos in Mesquite. The Fox 13 Investigates team broke the story in 2022 before she was under criminal investigation. Prosecutors wanted her to spend 15 months in prison. Instead, she will serve her 12-month sentence at home due to medical issues in her family. Tomorrow, we will take a closer look at the judge's decision, plus an exclusive look at her emotional reaction as she walked out of the courthouse.
Salt Lake police are asking for your help identifying 2 men who they say are connected to an aggravated assault. It happened March 10th at a nightclub near 10th East, 2100 South. Investigators believe it started with a fight between the first suspect and a 47-year-old man. That man was hurt, although police have not said how. The suspect left in a car driven by a second suspect who is accused of hitting a 45-year-old woman with his car while driving away. She suffered serious injuries but is expected to survive. If you have any information that could help, call Salt Lake Police.
Utah Transit Authority police say the suspect in last Thursday's shooting at the Trax Meadowbrook station in South Salt Lake has turned himself in. Police say he is a juvenile, so they are not releasing his name. Investigators believe the shooting started as a fight. One person was critically wounded, another was seriously hurt.
A new statewide sexual assault and domestic violence helpline is being launched for Native Americans and others. The Utah Department of Public Safety is partnering with Restoring Ancestral Winds, a nonprofit dedicated to ending violence in Native communities. The National Violence Against Women Survey states American Indians experience violent victimization at a rate greater than other U.S. racial or ethnic subgroups.
It's not very common that you would have a hotline where you can call that also has access to things like Native healers, things like Navajo-speaking people that also understand and have been trained to understand.
For a list of available resources, go to restoringawcoalition.org.
Excitement filled the air as students from the Tooele County School District gear up for an extraordinary opportunity to connect directly with astronauts aboard the International Space Station. This is all thanks to the amateur radio on the International Space Station program. Students at Blue Peak High School posed questions to astronaut Mike Barrett in a live ham radio contact. Teacher Clint Thompson was spearheading the initiative. He said the chance for students to engage with space exploration is truly unforgettable. The contact lasted about 10 minutes, which was the time the ISS was overhead of the Salt Lake Valley before they went out of contact.
There's nothing more manual than an amateur radio contact with the International Space Station. And so it's personal to them. They have a contact not through some sort of satellite network, not through some sort of big, complex broadcast environment, but talking directly to astronauts. I think that tangibility is great on so many levels for students.
It's just going to be a cool experience. It's a cool experience that we can just I guess, reflect on, like the fact that we were able to talk to astronauts in space.
Yeah, talk about a long-distance call. Teachers throughout the day also set up lesson plans to talk about all the things in the STEM field. A lot to talk about, all the things.
Oh yeah, everything in the STEM fields. Those kids are not going to forget that experience talking to the astronauts on the ISS.
And you know what? We had so many Utahns that traveled to see the solar eclipse today in totality. And regardless of if you watched that from here in Utah or if you have loved ones that were able to travel. It really was an emotional experience for everything STEM related today. So a great day for us here in Utah. We ended up getting the cloud cover being just perfect, where we could see that beautiful partial eclipse here in Utah. Our next one not until 2044, then we'll be in the path of totality in 2045 for another solar eclipse. So 20 more years. 46 degrees currently here in Salt Lake. St. George, you also had a really nice day, 59 degrees, although it was quite breezy this afternoon. As we look at temperatures right now, over in Twilla, right at freezing, 32 degrees there, so quite chilly. 47 for Ogden, 44 for Provo. Over towards Roosevelt and Vernal, low 40s, same thing for Price and Hanksville. Bryce Canyon also right at freezing, same thing as Twilla. And then for St. George, 59 degrees right now. Here are your main weather headlines. We had a somewhat cool start to the week. We were below average today by about 10 degrees. We are going to be warming up this week. Then we'll have our next chance for a storm to move in late weekend. Plenty of sunshine for the next couple of days. So we had that cloudier, wet, very chilly weekend, but now things are going to be improving. High pressure is going to be building as a storm just brushes by to our north for tomorrow, but for the most part, a lot of sunshine and warm temperatures for us here in Utah over the next couple of days as this ridge of high pressure takes over. So what does that mean for you? A lot of sunshine, warm temperatures, somewhat cool mornings for the next few days, and then things will actually be getting kind of hot later in the week. So today we had cloud cover for areas of southern Utah, southeastern Utah. But we really got lucky here along the Wasatch Front for that cloud cover breaking in time for that eclipse. We do have temperatures overnight that will be dropping into the 30s, so we'll have a cool night. A little breezy at times tomorrow, 10 to 20 miles per hour here across the state, but nothing too bad. Wind will be more noticeable late in the week. Temperatures tomorrow morning in the 30s, rising into the 40s by 10 a.m., with then temps throughout the state tomorrow morning in the 20s and 30s. So for the Wasatch Front tomorrow, it will be a really nice spring day. You'll have a cool start, and then temperatures will be about 5 degrees warmer than what we saw today. And then we are going to see our temperatures second half of the week really on the rise. For St. George tomorrow, you're into the low 70s, so you'll have a nice day. Temperatures quite chilly when you first wake up, near 40. For the Wasatch Front tomorrow, temperatures into the mid 50s, so still below average by just a few degrees. And then southern Utah, 60s and 70s. Cedar City close to 60 tomorrow. And then for St. George, look at that temperature Thursday into Friday for daytime highs. We're looking at upper 80s, close to 90 degrees on Friday. Wind will pick up as a storm moves to our west. We'll talk more about that later in the hour, what kind of impacts we could see for us here in Utah with that. But for Salt Lake, 50s tomorrow, 60s on Wednesday, 70s Thursday, Friday, Saturday, close to 70 degrees on Sunday, a little bit cooler early next week with a chance for some showers. But Friday, that'll be warm, a little breezy here across the state, and that will probably be our warmest day so far this year. More on our next storm coming up in just a bit. We'll be right back.
In national news, President Biden today promised life-changing relief for 30 million student loan borrowers. He made the announcement in the swing state of Wisconsin, following up on his efforts to find alternatives after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down his initial debt forgiveness plan.
I will never stop to deliver student debt relief on hardworking Americans, and it's only in the interest of America that we do it. And again, it's for the good of our economy.
The proposal is aimed at helping low and middle income Americans who owe more than their student loans than they originally borrowed. It would apply to people enrolled in income-driven repayment plans. However, it's already facing pushback from Republicans who say it is unfair to shift the burden onto taxpayers.
In a video released today, former President Donald Trump says abortion limits should be left up to the states to decide. The presumptive Republican nominee declined to endorse a national abortion ban just weeks after suggesting he would support one. The video that was released on Truth Social is being criticized by both anti-abortion groups and Democrats.
I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded be ended. Roe v. Wade. This 50-year battle over Roe v. Wade took it out of the federal hands and brought it into the hearts, minds, and vote of the people in each state.
In a statement, the Biden campaign said Trump is simply lying and he will ban abortions nationwide if elected.
This is special. It's one of a lifetime for us.
How those here in our state enjoyed the partial solar eclipse.
Today's solar eclipse was celebrated by millions around the world, but how do indigenous peoples view it?
It has been 6 months since Hamas carried out a surprise attack on Israel. Today we hear from our local Jewish and Palestinian communities about the impact the conflict continues to have.
You could call it a Utah institution, the Utah Woolen Mills. 5 generations, but they're now moving. I'm Amy Nay in downtown Salt Lake City. I'll tell you what's happening next.
Welcome back, everyone. Part of the country got to see the total eclipse today, but here in Utah, we got this, maybe a little under than 50%.
Now, Chad, this is a time lapse from outside the Fox 13 News studios showing the moon starting to eclipse the sun until the peak of our partial eclipse at 12:32 p.m.
I'll tell you what, there were a lot of people outside the newsroom today with glasses looking up. Fox 13 News reporter Darian DeBrule was out, and she takes us to a watch party at a Taylorsville park.
Good day, sunshine. Glasses on.
Even the bear has them high.
Because it's important. Eyes up.
Oh, look again, it's me.
The partial solar eclipse was here.
I saw the solar eclipse.
Life will look different for all of us when the next one comes.
The next partial eclipse in Utah will not happen until 2044.
They're little right now. In 21 years, gosh, I'm going to be old. We won't be around for the next one.
So those at the park took in the rare minutes as the moon covered part of the sun.
Oh, wow. That's cool, huh? Is that the moon?
No, it's the sun.
When I first put the glasses on and looked up, I thought it was the moon, and everybody was laughing at me because it was the sun.
Whether it be in totality or in Utah, where it was seen partially.
I knew if I couldn't make it to Austin, where I'm sure it's a huge party, I thought I have to go out and be where people are.
Go ahead and put your glasses on.
The eclipse created an experience that was marveling.
This is special. It's one of a lifetime for us.
It feels like I've finally seen a piece of history. In Taylorsville, Darian DeBrule, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It's the death of the sun. The sun is the giver of life, and now that he's born again, let's continue and follow in his footsteps until he dies again.
I'm Fox 13 Utah's meteorologist Chris Nunley. Today was a celestial celebration for millions around the world who viewed the total solar eclipse.
Is that the moon?
The occurrence of a solar eclipse is an exciting celebration amongst the Western culture, but solar eclipses hold a different meaning for many indigenous peoples. The state of Utah experienced 50 to 60% totality earlier this afternoon, but over my tribal grounds in southeastern Oklahoma, totality was experienced. Today's celestial event provides a unique opportunity to shine light on important cultural differences, beliefs, and practices of the solar eclipse. Choctaw oral stories have it that mischievous, hungry black squirrels saw the sun and began to nibble on it. As the squirrels ate away at the sun, it grew dark outside. The darkness was concerning for the Choctaws, and unrest grew because the sun is everything in our culture. Sun is the creator. Sun is life. It keeps the crops growing and the water falling from the sky. In an effort to divert the squirrels from the sun, the Choctaw people found a creative solution to rid the sun of the black squirrels.
They got very excited. The women and children started coming out and creating this huge amount of noise because they wanted to scare Funny Lissa away. They come out and start throwing sticks at Funny Lissa to scare him away.
This worked, and the sun slowly came back to full brightness, leading to mass celebrations. Solar eclipses are now viewed as a celebratory time, and this tradition is still practiced by some on the Choctaw Nation. The celebration of a solar eclipse isn't the same belief amongst all indigenous peoples. For some tribes, it is a time of change, a ceremonial time, a natural occurrence to respect and not be outside. Today's solar eclipse for the Navajo people was regarded as a time of reverence and respect, as it is believed to contribute to an individual's spirit balance during the significant celestial event. Given the sun's symbolic importance as a source of life and the rebirth of the sun after the moon eclipses it, today's solar eclipse has a sacred significance in which pausing for reflection is practiced during the transition from death to birth of the sun.
We sit inside as Navajos and reflect on ourselves. We don't eat, we don't drink, we don't laugh. That's what we do as Navajo, is we stay inside, we reflect, we persevere, we sit reverently, and then after it's done, we go outside with corn pon, or is what we call chadadin, and we do a blessing, and it's almost like a baby was born again, the blessing that we give.
The differing beliefs surrounding the solar eclipse are all important, and it's vital that we continue to tell those stories and practice those traditions so those beliefs aren't lost to history.
We can all reflect and agree on the importance of the sun and the earth. In Salt Lake County, I'm Fox 13 Utah's meteorologist, Chris Nunley.
Coming up, we are now 6 months into the Israel-Hamas war. How the impact is still being felt on both the local Jewish and Palestinian communities.
And Utah Woolen Mills is moving after 119 years in the same spot in downtown Salt Lake City. We'll take a look at the iconic store and its history. Palestinians are returning to complete destruction in the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis. Their return comes a day after the Israeli military announced it was withdrawing from the area. Thousands of buildings have been damaged or destroyed in Gaza's second largest city. Those returning are trying to salvage what they can from the ruins. The war in Gaza is now in its 7th month, with more than 33,000 Palestinians dead.
Yesterday marked 6 months since Hamas led a surprise attack on Israel.
Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold shows us how the impact is still being felt in both the Jewish and Palestinian communities in Utah.
The past 6 months have been very challenging for a lot of people.
Rabbi Sam Spector is with Congregation Kol Ami in Salt Lake. Back in November, he made a trip to Israel, seeing the devastation of the Hamas-Israel conflict firsthand.
I talked to a gentleman whose wife and son were murdered in his arms, and he survived but lost his leg.
Hamas killed more than 1,100 people during that October 7th attack, and 250 people were kidnapped. 134 of those, most of them Israelis, are still being held captive. Rabbi Spector says the conflict has had an impact here as well. He says they've had to make several security upgrades to his synagogue after receiving a bomb threat on October 8th and several threatening phone calls and emails in the months that followed.
A couple weeks before October 7th, we installed about 20 security cameras, and we're going to be installing another 20. We also put into place flagpoles in front of our building to prevent people from driving at congregants on the sidewalk. We have had to have police presence nearly daily since October 7th.
However, it isn't lost on Rabbi Spector that the impact is not just being felt by the Jewish community.
I think it's very challenging and troubling to see the difficult situation of the Palestinian people. Our hearts break for innocent civilians who are caught in the crossfires of this war.
My parents still have family there, family that is not treated equally.
Tala Hammond is a first-generation Palestinian living here in Utah. The conflict between Hamas and Israel has left nearly 33,000 Palestinians dead.
I think it's really hard to fathom these numbers, and I think also knowing that the majority, a huge part of these numbers are children too, is really heartbreaking. I think seeing how quickly the numbers are adding up is so concerning.
Both Hammond and Rabbi Spector spoke about what they hope to see happen moving forward.
Personally, I think ceasefire should be the absolute bare minimum. I just saw this a couple days ago. I think Joe Biden finally has called for a ceasefire.
We hope and pray that one day everybody in that region will know peace.
In Salt Lake, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, temperatures today average, but they are going to be on the rise the next few days when we could see our hottest day so far this year.
Game on the men's side. Can they match what the viewers got for yesterday's women's game? And we'll introduce you to BYU slugger Colin Reuter, smashed 3 home runs in one game against the Longhorns.
So glad you're with us tonight. A 5-generation family business is saying goodbye to its historic downtown Salt Lake City location as they prepare to move after more than a century in the same spot.
Fox 13 News anchor Amy Nays shows us what's next for the iconic Utah Woolen Mills.
There's so much history.
5th-generation owner BJ Stringham walks us through the historic Utah Woolen Mills and their downtown location on South Temple.
Like, check this out. This is one of our original style books.
Back when they featured women's clothing, now primarily it's high-end menswear.
That was the label we used to have. Original Utah Woolen Mills, so lots of history. We had this in our store until until 2004.
The original cash register when they used to do it all by hand.
You'd write down the code and then you'd write down how many we had. So that was back before any of our inventory was computerized. In our old mill, there was actually a belt that went across the top of the mill, and then this belt would run this machine and run that machine, and this machine would do the circular knitting for sleeves and the body of a sweater.
With his long family legacy hanging on these walls.
That's great-great-grandfather up there. Great-grandfather right there. That's my grandpa. He's 94. That's really cool. And then there's Dad up in the upper left picture.
Updating their name to UWM Men's Shop in recent years, but an even bigger change is coming next month.
UWM Men's Shop is Kyle speaking.
Right here on this block for 119 years in downtown Salt Lake, this family-run business, the Utah Woolen Mills, has gone through 2 pandemics, 2 world wars, but now thanks to a lease dispute, you see here, they're now moving.
We're going to be moving to 6100 South State Street. So
into a building they own.
all the people are coming. We're going to take as much history as we can. Nothing's changing about what we do. We're just going to be doing it from a different location.
One they hope will allow them to continue their tailored traditions for another century or 2.
We're very few in the country, and we want to propel that further, and we're really excited about the future.
Keeping their business going despite a number of challenges over the years.
In the late 70s, when they approached my grandfather because they wanted to build Crossroads Mall, I mean, we had to change then, and we changed from an actual mill to a retail establishment.
Holding their place in the downtown scene through City Creek's development and so much more, BJ says they hope to honor their history, but focus on the future.
We're built for survival. We're built for adapting, and you know, even since COVID, where we had to adapt like crazy, we were having our best sales years in the last couple of years, and I think that's attributed to being willing to change and also, you know, choosing to be optimistic about what the future holds.
Although he admits it will be hard to lose this location, working here as long as he can remember.
I'm 44 years old. I started working here off and on, sidewalk sales, when I was 12. You can't look back on what could have or what should have been. It's like, no, this is what is the reality. Let's go.
And so maybe you'll see new customers. Hopefully you'll bring the old ones and maybe new ones too.
We love new customers, yeah.
Promising to continue everything customers have come to know and love, including charitable programs helping dress those ready to get back into the workforce.
We still do it. We encourage people to nominate folks that they have seen that have made great strides in their life and just need this finishing touch. So that's our Suited for Good.
But showing us how they've changed over the years.
These cases were what the traveling salespeople used. Traveling salesmen would load these up with samples of what the mill could produce.
But welcoming what comes next. Reporting from downtown Salt Lake City, Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Wow. Utah Woolen Mills is throwing a big party in their final days at their South Temple shop at City Creek. That is going to be on May 4th. Then it's off to their new store at 6100 South in Murray near Fashion Place Mall, and they'll open up there on May 6th.
Big, exciting time for them. Amy mentioned there in her story, if you'd like to learn more about their Suited for Good charity, or if you'd like to nominate someone, we do have a link on our website. You can find it at fox13now.com.
Well, it was a pretty good day to see the partial eclipse here in Utah. Allison?
Yeah, you know, we really got lucky with our cloud cover here in Utah. I know we weren't in the path of totality, but it was still really special to see. But guess what? If you want to be in the path of totality, 2045 is going to be your time to shine here in Utah. August 12th, mark your calendars for 21 years from now. It'll be visible from Salt Lake to Ridgefield in that path of totality, but fantastic viewing for the entire state. Of course, waiting on the cloud cover like we were just to the last minute today. A storm is passing to our south today. High pressure becomes our main story over the next couple of days, and this is going to dominate the forecast. We're going to have warming temperatures and a lot of sunshine here for the next couple of days. Then late in the week, we'll see some increasing clouds Saturday, and then by second half of the weekend, there's going to be a storm off to our west brewing, and then that is going to bring us wind out ahead of it, allow us to warm up this weekend. Still some very warm temperatures Friday, Saturday, and then by Sunday into Monday, we could see some quick precipitation, but it's really not looking like it's going to be a major precipitation maker for us here in Utah, but we will see the chance for some showers, and of course, that could change over the next couple of days, so we'll be keeping our eye on that very closely. Temperatures right now here in Utah in the 40s. Tomorrow, it'll be a nice day. Upper 50s in Salt Lake, mid 40s for Park City, Moab, mid to upper 60s. Great hiking weather. Plenty of sunshine for St. George, 72 degrees. I would consider almost all of these temperatures great pickleball weather, great walking weather. And then we head into the next couple of days, the high pressure is building. We end up with plenty of sunshine, some very warm temperatures for our afternoons, but first we'll have a chilly start tomorrow morning. We'll have those temperatures Tuesday at 7 a.m. in the 20s and 30s here across the state. Hour by hour forecast tomorrow throughout the day in the 50s, and that'll be just a tiny bit below average. Chance of precipitation for Ogden will be isolated late in the weekend into early next week. And then for Provo, your chance of precipitation, same thing. We're going to end up on Friday, maybe some isolated showers, but better chances late in the weekend into early next week. And then for St. George, your chance of precipitation also dry the next couple of days, late in the weekend into early next week. Some isolated showers are possible. St. George, low 70s tomorrow, 80s Wednesday, Thursday. By Friday, 87 degrees. And that'll likely be our warmest temperatures we've seen so far this year for us here in the state. Wind will pick up. We'll see some clouds at times this weekend, and then we'll see the chance for some isolated showers late weekend into early next week. For the Wasatch Front, our temperatures continue to climb. Look at this roller coaster. 50s tomorrow, 60s Wednesday, 70s Thursday through Saturday. Friday looks to be our warmest day so far this year, mid to upper 70s. And then we will see the chance for some showers late weekend into early next week. So as we go ahead and look beyond our 7-day forecast for the Wasatch Front, our temperature outlook for days 8 to 14. So this is the 16th of April through the 22nd. Temperatures normal for us here in northern Utah, and then a little bit warmer across southern Utah. So it looks like we'll have some very nice spring temperatures in the extended forecast once we get into the middle part of April. For our precipitation outlook, same time frame, really a split bag depending on where you are. To our east, wetter than normal, and then to our west, drier than normal heading into that middle part of April. So we've got temperatures the next couple of days very comfortable. This is our longest stretch of warmest temperatures so far this year, and then it looks like even in our extended forecast, things will stay pretty comfortable.
It's fun to be on top.
Yes.
Of that roller coaster ride, isn't it?
Basking in the sun. A Utah Jazz owner, Ryan Smith, is trying to lure a National Hockey League team to Utah, and he now wants your opinion on what the team name should be.
Smith posted a link to a survey on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, asking the question, if an NHL team were to come to Utah one day, what should we name it? You can fill out any name you like. We've got a link to the survey on our website, fox13now.com.
I bet you he's getting some pretty creative names in right now.
Love to see some of those samples.
I was saying earlier, I like the Blades.
The
with
Blades?
a Z at
That's
the
a
end.
good one.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
a good one.
Well, you may remember last month, Governor Cox signed a bill that creates a sports and entertainment district in downtown Salt Lake, including construction of a new arena that could host both the Utah Jazz and conveniently an NHL team as well.
I like it. And how about this number? The NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship game between South Carolina and Iowa on Sunday averaged 18.7 million viewers, making it the most watched basketball game, men's or women's, college or pro, in 5 years. Wow. The men's national championship game was tonight between Purdue and UConn. Purdue's Zach Edey is the two-time National Player of the Year. It's the big throwdown here. He had 37 points and 10 rebounds. But UConn pulled away in the second half. Samson Johnson with the big finish. The Huskies were up by 13. Then it's Tristan Newton. Takes it inside and gets 2 of his 20 points. UConn won it by 15. They're back-to-back champions with their 6th national championship. BYU baseball player Colin Reuter had a big day in Texas on Saturday with 3 home runs, and the Cougars win over the Longhorns. Fox 13's Andrea Urban caught up with him after today's practice.
After being named to the 2022 West Coast Conference All-Freshman team and then redshirting 2023 due to an arm injury, BYU sophomore catcher Colin Reuter has taken the Big 12 by storm. With a now healthy arm, he became the second player in the conference to hit 3 home runs in a single game. And that happened this past weekend in BYU's series win over Texas.
Third at bat of the day for Colin Reuter, and that's his 3rd home run of the day.
A team that a kid from Mississippi knows far too well.
I got recruited a little bit, not much, but I didn't really want to go there. I don't know, I fell in love with it out here.
4 home runs over the series, 3 in one game. What was working out there?
Honestly, I was going pitch by pitch and just having fun. I mean, when you hit 3 in a day, it's just, the game's fun. I mean, and then when you take a series from Texas, big time series, I mean, it can't get any better.
Which home run felt the best?
The first one.
The first one?
Yeah. First one was
because?
That's the furthest ball I've ever hit.
Get out of town.
I think so. When you hit it, you just know it's like, see you later.
How's it been coming back from your injury?
It's actually been really good. My arms never felt better. Having that sense of like calmness that I know my arm's okay, and I think it feels really good.
It's almost like you have this new like bionic arm.
There's a lot of metal in there.
Wow, really? In your arm?
There's a plate and 7 screws.
What does that do for you going into your sophomore year, kind of knowing that you're as healthy as you can be?
I think the first couple games been pretty emotional for me, and just knowing that I can still play the game that I love.
2 at bats, 2 homers.
I think it's just being out here with the guys and coming to a different state and having fun is just, it's one of a kind.
With the Cougars, Andrea Urban, Fox 13 Sports.
That's a pretty good day at the plate. And the 2 games before that, he almost hit for the cycle, was a triple short. So had a good weekend in the state of Texas.
My
against the
goodness.
He's been hitting the batting cages.
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
well, he's got a lot of power. You can see he's built really sturdy.
Good swing, good player.
What?
You're right. They're athletes, you know?
Yeah.
You can spot them. We'll be right back. Thank you, everyone, for watching tonight.
QuickCast is up next.